This meeting is being recorded.
It is. Hello and welcome to the 24th NFT Guild Roundtable. It's Wednesday, July 19th, and we're happy to host the DEMU project. We have Session, the founder, and Randall here with us, the CTO. DEMU is a pioneering music rights protocol aimed at revolutionizing music licensing and distribution through automatic royalty payments. We're going to see a little demo of the first application they've built today, their Jukebox music player, and some other, and here's some more about it. Welcome, Session Cruz, and the floor is yours, sir.
What's going on, man? Is it okay if I play a video of the demo instead of the live demo? Is that cool? Before I go?
It's yours. It's your time.
Cool.
Take it away.
Yeah. So thanks for having us. So I guess I get right into it. So the DEMU protocol is I'm the founder of the DEMU, and it's a music rights protocol that'll simplify music licensing with automatic royalty payments back to all rights holders. This basically, we want to empower music professionals to directly manage their music business. And it's really two apps or two products. It starts with one. I'm going to start with one, and it's going to evolve into the second. So the first app is the product that we're building, and what I'll demonstrate is the DEMU Jukebox. And the DEMU Jukebox, I guess the problem we're solving, before I get into it, as a creator, building a business on a music platform today is like building a home on rented land. At any time, the rules you've spent years building your business on can be changed with a line of code without your consent. So the tools we're building will empower millions of musicians all over the world to sell music straight to their fans. And this first product is the DEMU Jukebox. So you can imagine a media player inside your digital wallet. I like to say Cash App for the layman who don't even understand what a digital wallet is. So I just usually say Cash App. But fans can buy music and building a direct relationship with the artist that they're supporting, right? On the artist side, artists can be their own bank, streaming platform, and record store all in one. So Jukebox is really Cash App and Spotify combined. And again, after I speak, I'll play a video demo of the Jukebox. But the DEMU Jukebox is really the first step on our roadmap. This first killer use case for artists to sell their music directly, to be their own platform. And from this core value proposition, will attract artists, growing a database of licensable songs with built-in instructions for paying royalties, where unsigned artists, like I said, unsigned artists can be their own platform. And this growing repository of music evolves into the DEMU protocol, which is basically a music marketplace, which makes this content available for license to businesses, other businesses, for various purposes. So NFT marketplaces, music metaverses, fractional royalties, all the other different Web3 music startups that are popping up can now connect to this music license marketplace, with the challenge of paying music royalty or licensing that music and paying royalties for it, revenues generated, already solved for them. So that it's a two-parter. I hear Randall here wanting to get in.
Yeah. Oh, you can tell just by my trying to speak noises. That's funny. One of the big reasons that we're here to do this is for the purpose of helping many artists have a home for selling their music, and to generate the kinds of revenues that let them do music for a living. And this growing database of music, along with a growing database of licensing avenues, is like our one of our purposes is to build the many opportunities for them to have revenue and not just give them this one path where their value is used, but it's extracted and not returned to them.
Yep. It's building a home on your own land instead of rented land, right? You can imagine that these artists using these other platforms, they're building a home, sure, but it's on land that doesn't belong to them. And again, they could be rug pulled. The rules change at any time. So quickly, I got to combine some of what Randall said into my own pitch. I like that. Hold on, let me open up this video and then share my screen.
Yep, you should have permissions to do all that and good to go. Be sure to check the box at the little bottom left-hand corner of the share window that says share computer sound.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing on my side. What was
I
that?
thought it was, I must have clicked it off instead of on. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. And I'll show you the demo from the mobile side, because it's shorter. It's 50 seconds. I have a bigger, a more in-depth demo, but that's 3 minutes. And maybe, okay. Can I share now? Oh, I can.
There you
Okay.
go. Gotcha. Just kidding.
And this is a demo that I filmed for, the music, musicians who don't know anything about Web3. It was really abstract to them, like, oh, how am I going to sell music using the blockchain? And this is all going over their head. So, I'm speaking to them here. Here you go.
Does it have sound? Or no?
Even just the video speaks pretty well for itself.
It does.
So this
It
is
looks
a
good.
album ready for.
Wait, you can't hear it? You guys can't hear the?
purchase.
Oh man,
That's
Oh,
all right.
whatever.
It
Yeah.
really does speak for itself. Almost everything. The album's available for purchase. They hit buy. They approve the sale, and the music plays. It's that simple. It's token gated album purchasing in this case. We can also package this as a single, or even in the old 45 analogy, something that has an A side and a B side. You could even have a C side when it's an NFT.
Let's try this again.
Underneath.
Sorry. Let's try it again.
So
It's short. It's 50 seconds. I want to try it again.
So look, you open up the Vesper, that's your digital wallet, it has your money, you click the website, you're at the home page, this is where you sell your album, you tap the music player right here, music player shows up, you connect your wallet, right? You connect, since I'm connecting it for the first time, it does an extra, you have to approve it, right? And boom, I'm approving it, it's activating, boom. Now my money's connected to the music player, just like that. Now here's the music I can play. I click play. I got pay for it, the play. Face ID, connect, press play, boom. And that money that I paid goes directly to all the artists, all the rights holders associated with that song. It's really that easy.
Now, what I just demonstrated was the streaming thing. We're not leading with that yet. There's still some development work to be done. So we're leading with the album sale. So you buy the music token. We seek to establish a new music format. So examples of old music formats are CDs, cassettes, vinyl, right? So we seek to establish a new music format, and it's a music token. And this token, like Randall said, it's just token gated access to the music that it represents. So our artists can now sell albums again at least in this phase one, we'll be able to sell albums again, which is, I know from experience that this is something that artists would much rather do. Just the economics, just to unpack that a little bit, 300 albums sold at $10 a piece. And by the way, artists can set their own prices, but let's say 300 albums, 300 albums at sold at $10 a piece is the equivalent of 1 million streams sold on Spotify at 0.003. So artists can make more with less of a following, less of a fan base. And again, there's properties of the music token that make it more compelling for artists to purchase. They basically become part of the fan club, right? It's like VIP access to the artist. That's how we're selling it. Yeah, anyway, Randall, I don't know if you have anything to add, because I'll go on tangents.
Yeah, it's kind of this choice for artists to make their works available through an album. It kind of restores this idea of collectability that we have some significant evidence in the cryptoverse is a compelling case, that people collecting things, like people like to collect things. Yeah, they like to just go click and listen to music, but they also do like to collect things. And that act of directly supporting the artists that they want to collect the album from, well, that gives the artist also an opportunity to be in direct engagement with that fan.
And also the SIP68 nature of the token means that it's upgradable. So you can imagine that artists can craft, basically gamifying the fan experience, right? The experience of being a fan, by saying, hey, play my songs 1,000 times, level up the token, or come to 5 of my shows, level up the token. And by leveling up the token, being granted access to additional experiences, rewards, or whatever. And again, like Randall said, it now for the artist, it sorts my list of supporters from most engaged to least engaged. And so as an artist, I as a ex-artist myself, I know if I had that list of fans sorted by engaged to least engaged, we're gonna be best friends. Like we're gonna be I'm gonna make sure that I cultivate that relationship with my biggest supporters. And I think that for the fan, that's the reason why they would buy music again, because I get that question all the time from music professionals. Why would a fan buy music when they can stream unlimited for $10 a month? This is the reason. Yeah, I don't know, should I stop sharing? I guess we're good with that.
It's cool. Yeah.
Mm.
I know, as someone who has watched and experienced the Spotify algorithm evolution over time. It is, I have, and as I've gotten older, I've appreciated listening to albums like in order rather than just random playlists of a bunch of different things. This is, I think this format would be a cool, like, if it's as accessible as Spotify eventually, there's a whole nother set of experiences to be unlocked in listening to music that are currently unavailable on the conventional streaming platforms.
Mhm.
Anyway,
And I want to stress that, like you saw the demo, and you heard the numbers, and I believe that with that, like I said, that core value proposition of being able to sell music again in this way, unlocking the idea of album sales, reviving that, something that streaming platforms decimated. For this reason, along with myriad other benefits of managing IP on the blockchain, we believe that we can attract major labels to also offer their music on DEMU, right? And again, it's that this is just the first step. This is how we attract that music, that repository of licensable content, because really our vision is this music license marketplace. The big vision is the DEMU protocol, not the jukebox. The jukebox is just the app that gets people in. And again, each app that is built on the protocol multiplies the earning potential of that underlying IP, right? We hope to support Project Nooms of the world, or Sound XYZ, or all these Web3 music startups that are springing up that individually need to license music, need to know a guy to license that music. And then there's no payment rails to automate royalty payments for the revenue being generated by that license on that individual siloed application. So by building this ecosystem, by building the DEMU protocol where each of these apps are built, it becomes like one central command for the rights holder of that IP across all the different ways that one can monetize or generate revenue on IP. And that's the big vision, right? And sorry, I get so excited. But yeah, and yeah, I guess that I'll stop there because I can rant. Let me just pull back.
Well, yeah, that's good, man. I think the guild has some questions lined up. I saw both Sen and Anna-Maria Mirage come off mute. So go ahead, guys.
I wanted to ask not to put you on the spot if that's not ready or that's not something that you worked on, but I think it would be appropriate, being that the guild is more focused on tools and infrastructure for creators. Do you have anything that maybe you could show off the back end of the Jukebox, or how? My question would be, how would a creator interact with setting up their album for sale, or and if it's okay if you don't have anything at this moment to show, maybe you can describe how you envision that.
Yeah, in the early phases that we're in now, we're actually using an approach of directly serving artists. So an artist who is interested right now to come on board the platform can connect with us through our Discord, and then we're going to lead you through the process of collecting the metadata, the MP3 files, the rights holder list. We're going to double check with the list of people who contributed, and we want to make sure that we're engaging actively to the sequence of onboarding so that we can have the appropriate protections for you, but also for DEMU, against people who might otherwise just upload pirated music and start collecting royalties on it. And then what we're doing is also exercising our building set of automations for onboarding that music to the platform and making it available through the Jukebox app.
And can you see my screen? I hope you guys can see the screen.
Click to exit full screen, it says.
Oh man, hold on. It should. Okay, there we go. You should be able to see. So this is a glimpse of the back end, and I'll share. This is just UI. We like Randall said, we're gonna white glove service. We're gonna upload the music ourselves, but eventually it'll be as simple for the creators, as simple as uploading your music, configuring your royalties, and linking all contributors, and then the instructions for how to pay for that IP, beginning with the Jukebox, right? But then as we make it available to the other apps building on as we kickstart this ecosystem of apps, right? And kickstart the flywheel effect, right? The instructions for how to pay royalties, it'll be the same instructions for how to pay royalties. So yeah, I just wanted to share that real quick. And
yeah,
also,
that automation of tools, definitely. I mean, that's what's up next.
And there's a quick 3-minute pitch of everything for you guys to check out. What's up, CMOS?
Yeah.
What's your revenue model?
Transaction fees. So we're like basically fintech for music. Or Visa, I like to say. We'll charge a transaction fee for every a payment process on the protocol. And it's important it'll be recursive. It's like it'll feed the treasury that then builds the protocol, right? That supports the protocol itself. We borrowed a lot from Cardano. So
Is anything going to be open source?
Yes, the DEMU protocol will be. That's how people will be able to build. But, you know, we have to fortify ourselves first, get some traction, build that repository of music. Mhm.
You said
So
you
where does all that music go to?
Randall, we're exploring we want it to be a decentralized content storage layer, right? But Randall can speak more to that.
Yeah. As we continue building out our essential music serving node software is going to be served through more endpoints, more people who are will be able to run the node. And so the short version is the music's going to go to those node operators who will be able to serve that music as part of their contribution to the network. And scaling that out is one of the interesting challenges of creating a decentralized protocol that operates at massive scale.
Okay, so you decided to create a storage layer on top of the music and rights management.
Or a storage layer that's interwoven with the rights management. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any real benefit to doing it this way instead of doing I don't know, some typical decentralized storage?
Like IPFS?
Well, IPFS has a problem that it is public, right?
Yes.
You don't have real access to access controls or something like that. But
yeah,
if you use Iagon's network or Filecoin or SIA, they actually can allow you to do stuff like that.
Yeah, the challenge with generic protocols like that is that they are thinking of it not in the frame of addressing the goals of the people who are actually participating in the music ecosystem. And so we're actually working through a couple of contingency paths where we may partner with an organization such as Iagon, or an organization such as Protocol Labs, and figure out some techniques that would supplement their networks. Or alternatively, we do have contingency plans for also simply creating a new storage protocol that is focused on solving the music challenges, the music related challenges, and maybe it's built on top of one of those other storage protocols.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting.
CMOS.
Did you rely on any existing technologies or outside contractors for this?
I don't understand the importance of this question.
You don't understand the question? Did you rely on any existing technologies or outside contractors to make this?
Yeah, so we use Saturn. Avatar Nick is part of our team, and he's helped us with the SIP68 token minting part.
Cool. Does that answer your question, CMOS?
The digital rights management protocol, where did that come from?
What do you mean, where did it come from? It came from my brain.
no.
Was that the answer you were looking for?
So the session you've talked about relying on transaction fees as a revenue stream. Do you envision like the protocol becoming its own sidechain in time, or how do you see this playing out? Or will it be entirely based on the layer 1 of Cardano, or what's the plan there?
Go ahead, Randall.
We might end up using a side chain. There's a little bit of interesting contingency tracks around the streaming revenue model. If we engage deeply into streaming, it's more likely that we'll use a layer 2 chain. And if not, it's more likely that we'll do more settlement on layer 1 and less activity on a layer 2. At the end of the day, it seems likely that we'll frame the protocol overall as a layer 2 solution, because it won't, there'll be a lot of activity that's not active on the main chain, while there will be some activity that is connected to the main chain. So for example, licensing and album catalogs seems like the main chain would be a good place to do a lot of that. But there's also interesting opportunities to move a lot of that to a side chain that doesn't have to load the main chain with a bunch of data that isn't relevant to the whole Cardano network.
Oh, thanks for the answer. Wow.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does definitely.
Yeah.
Sense, you came off mute.
Yes, I was thinking about the artists and the tokens. Is there a central token for DEMU, or can the artists create their own tokens?
We're actually slow rolling a tokenization track. We don't want to be one of these orgs that's just pushing token sale, and we really want to focus on creating value and functionality. That said, for artists as well as other audience, other network actors like node operators, we are looking at tokenomics techniques that can engage them, build incentives for them to contribute what they have to the network and get fair credit for having participated in those important ways. And then as we roll into the phase where we do tokenize the protocol, it'll instead of being backed by hype, it'll be backed by contribution, action, value created already in the ecosystem.
Yeah, cool. So will it be in another way than, for example, for the storage contributors? How do you see those being incentivized?
Network fees. So they'll earn a share of a sliver of the revenue that music generates. A sliver of that fee will go to the network, and thus the node operators who serve that content to the end user, to the fan.
We know that there are lots of people running nodes in the Cardano network that are, they're not receiving sufficient compensation for the cost that they're incurring. And we really want there to be an opportunity for folks like that to contribute spare capacity that their hardware has to add revenue opportunities for what they're already doing with their hardware.
Yeah. One more question. How do you see the model for contributing this storage? I guess that at least when I think about it, it seems like a very large library to have all of the millions of songs on every node? Do you see every node to have all of the songs, or do you see that they can have a subset of the songs on all of the nodes?
You put your finger on a very interesting aspect of the challenge. Yeah, and we'll be sharing more about our approach on that, and as we find it's the right time to share that story.
Okay, thanks.
Beautiful question. Appreciate that curiosity.
Kyriakos.
Right. Sorry if I'm asking something that was touched upon by Session already. You broke up at some point while I was listening. Are you going to be working on, I don't know, like a CIP for music rights on Cardano or anything like that? Is there already work on it?
No,
I think we've participated in an existing metadata CIP, and what I'm really digging about that is that it was done together with other people who are wanting to be part of this music ecosystem, and that coming together, I think, may spell the difference between also ran and ultimate success.
Right, because I'm aware that NUM, for example, is also looking at a music rights management standard.
Yeah, so yeah, I was part of that I guess council, the SIP 60 council. So our project NUM and a bunch of other musicians in the community, we came up with this token standard SIP 60, yeah, for music metadata.
Okay, so the platform is like engineered to be interoperable. Is it like there's like
Correct.
discussion about opening standards and being able to move like your rights from one platform to the other, something like that?
Correct.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. SIP 60, I'll type it in there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
We're at version 2 now, actually, so we've improved it already. Yeah. And there should be more improvement. Yeah. I see some areas of improvement.
Right. And so DEMU in itself is more interested in doing like the streaming part of like the consumer end, or are you also looking at just being a storefront and allowing people to like buy things which they have on their own jukebox?
It so happens that connecting to the end listeners is just one of the things that we recognize as needed in the ecosystem, but it's actually not the main thing. Session, you could probably point to a number of people who might stand on that side of other licensing use cases, other than buying albums or streams. To where it's game developers or video creators or other people who are going to consume the rights. They're going to buy a license of various types, and then they're going to be the consumer of that license to use or what's the word? Present music, performance. These are different types of licenses in the music industry. Session.
I got it. Yeah, so there's different licenses, license types, different royalties for the different licenses. It gets really complicated, but basically there are different ways that you can generate revenue on IP other than just music streaming. Music streaming is just the one that the end user knows, most people know. You can imagine, for example, a music metaverse. We have a partnership with Future Fest, also building on Cardano, and there is no plumbing, so to speak, for royalties being paid for the performance of the music in that metaverse, right? So legally, Future Fest cannot play popular music in, let's say, a virtual nightclub, or even if they got a virtual performance from an artist, that artist can't legally perform their biggest hits because there are other rights holders associated with that song being performed, and royalties need to be paid for that. So by Future Fest or any metaverse to then plug into our DEMU protocol, they have access to licensable content in that regard, right? Performance royalties, with performance royalties being paid for the performance of the music in that metaverse. Then there's, all manner of other businesses that can build on top of it. You have beat marketplaces, so producers can upload their beats, and you can imagine what one-click license or of that beat for the artist, so that it right within the beat that they use to record new music on top of that, there are instructions for paying royalties to the producer of that music, right? Sync licensing is something Randall touched on. Sync licensing is the royalty for to be paid for music used over video. And then there's sync licensing, and then there are micro sync. So I'll unpack both. So a sync license is for like the big content, TV and film, advertisements, stuff like that. And micro sync, something relatively new, TikTok, Instagram, right? The smaller bite-sized content, Twitch streams and stuff. So you can imagine that, again, one-click license for I get off on tangents, but the sync licensing is relegated to the big players, the HBOs, the EA Sports and video games of the world, who can slog through a multi-month process that it takes to sync license that content and pay the big fees. You can imagine that with by managing IP on the blockchain in this way that we're describing, that you can open it up so that even user-generated content, right? YouTubers can easily one-click license content for their YouTube video, and they don't have the resources to slog through a multi-month process to license that music or the connections. But even if they did slog through that process, there is no scalable way for YouTube to verify that license, right? To confirm that that license is actually in place. So by managing the IP on the blockchain and the license of that IP, you can imagine that YouTube can quickly confirm that that license was made, that payment was made, and that the rights holders are clear that the use of that. So you can imagine that $500 million a year that sync licensing generates can be opened up via this pathway, where now any user, any YouTube, any creator worldwide can easily one-click license. I call it Shutterstock for music, right? Where they can easily license that content. And these are the many different ways. I mean, I'll give one final one because AI is very big right now. And I envision a future where OpenAI's Jukebox or similar music AI product can integrate with the protocol. And this will ensure that the proper rights holders are attributed for any derivative works that result from AI using their music to generate new compositions. So these are just some of the potential use cases and many more that can be opened up and made available to not only the business, but the rights holders, right? These different revenue streams that can be unlocked by managing IP on the blockchain. And let's not forget that I'll add to this that on top of that, but there one of the things that inflames my passion is even more. So pardon me if I get a little crazy, but it's this idea that we can give these tools to artists in emerging markets, to indigenous record labels who currently need to, if they even get that big, they need to enter into an exploitive contract with corporations in developed countries in order to distribute their music worldwide. With these tools, these artists can, we hope to we hope to become the tech stack along with Cardano and World Mobile that artists in, let's say, Africa can pick up to sell their music direct to the consumer, to a global worldwide audience. But on the flip side, it becomes a bridge so that artists in America or even the corporations are granted access to fans over, who do not have a bank account, right? Spotify requires a bank account in order to subscribe to it. And these people in these emerging markets do not have bank accounts, but they have a wallet, right? And so this, like I said, is a two-way street. It's a bridge that connects both these worlds, and increasing the size of the revenue pie.
Awesome.
And that's a big
Sounds like
deal.
a lot of possibilities for you guys.
Yeah, we want to, I'm a hip hop head, and I want to do the same thing that hip hop did. I hope that we can accomplish the same thing that hip hop did in the 80s, where it empowered people in the inner cities, not only to be famous rappers and make a lot of money on their music, but also the community of supporters around them, the entrepreneurs, the business managers, the record label owners who could now build businesses off of hip hop. And we see parallels with that with artists in emerging markets who, with these tools, can not only be successful artists, but also empower their community of supporters, those entrepreneurs, those business managers, the Dame Dashes of the world. I don't know if you know that name, but anyway, these people that can now build music businesses on top of the protocol.
Facilitating all those interactions, that's the protocol part of this, CMOS.
Where do you see the role of a new record label in this equation? Because initially you mentioned that you want the protocol and the service to free artists of the often predatory tactics of the music industry. But obviously, the record labels are partly responsible for that, but they also have another important role to play apart from that. So how do you envision this changing that dynamic?
So
Great labels serve their artists.
Yeah, that's a good point. So first of all, any artist can be their own record label. So I'll often use the terms interchangeably. Every artist can be their own record label, they'll be their own business, and so I'll say that, I'll start with that. But also, when the record labels, there's a spectrum of record labels, right? There's the biggest, the major corporations, down to the indigenous record labels. And we want to grant access to all record labels equally, the tools to run their business, right? So we have no opinion about, we'll make no opinion about who can use this or how it can be used. But I do imagine that when artists are using this protocol to generate revenue across all the myriad ways one can generate revenue on that IP, that it leads to more pinpoint accurate IP valuation. And that pinpoint accuracy of IP valuation I believe will result in better negotiations with a major label, let's say, right? Because right now it's just, artists are negotiating. It's almost like telling the weather like this, right? They don't have access to the tools that will so that it can better negotiate those deals. And even the major labels don't have, they have access to more sophisticated tools, but not pinpoint accuracy of exactly what that IP is worth. And so on both sides, I believe that it'll lead to fair negotiations. Now, again, we can't help what a grown adult or enters into an agreement with another grown adult, right? So we just want to give them the tools to better negotiate those deals.
Good answer. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we got maybe 5 minutes or so left on this call. We could have a couple extra questions if anybody has them, but if not, I was thinking maybe we could talk some future roadmap, but I think
I actually
Anne
wanted
Marie
to
has
ask,
one.
yeah,
Okay.
one last question maybe. How was it to build on Cardano? Did you encounter any specific difficulties? And maybe for someone who might be watching this video in the future, thinking on developing something on Cardano, if you have any advice or.
I love that question. When this idea first entered my mind, August 2021, and I realized that the blockchain could automate royalty payments, I knew I needed a team. And what I did was I deep dove into Cardano. First of all, right? I did my research on which blockchain to use, which solution to use, and then I made friends in the community. I deep dived in, especially Gimbal Labs. The Gimbal Labs a huge resource for me. I shut up and listened for 6 months before I opened my mouth. There, like, it just made friends, listened, learned, and it was I'm grateful for Gimbal Labs for helping me and pointing me in the right direction. I got connected to Randall and many others in my team, and so I encourage others to do the same. I mean, get involved with the community, share the story, share who you are, and you'll attract like-minded people for sure. And so, yeah, excellent question. Yeah, it brings me back, but sorry, I can rant. Also, real quick, as a call to action, we have a Project Catalyst proposal, 2 of them, one that focuses on the DEMU Jukebox, the first application, and the second, the protocol itself. And I hope that you guys can check that out. I'm cutting pasting from Twitter, so let me, here it is. I'm gonna take away, boom. Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah. So check those out, please. We'd appreciate your support. We were funded in Fund Day, and that allowed us to get to the point where we have that demo that we shared with you, and we need more funds to continue that work. And we believe that we're with this core value proposition of artists and record labels being able to manage their IP on the blockchain, that we can attract the major the entire music industry to Cardano. I didn't say much about myself, but I have 20 years of experience in the music industry, most notably as an artist, a touring artist, assigned to a record label myself. I understand the pain points from the artist side, but then when that didn't work out for me, I worked in behind the scenes, right? Most notably, I worked for Kanye West, worldwide superstar, for many years. So I have many connections, and I believe that I can attract the music industry to Cardano, which will result in more transaction fees and a higher value of ADA. But more importantly, it'll to help artists worldwide. So we're all in this together, and supporting us means your bags go up if you care about that. I don't.
Awesome. Yeah. So, how about, yeah, I wanted to ask, yeah, the roadmap. What do you guys see down the pipeline? We've talked to you've signaled towards some multiple different directions to take some of the things you're working on right now. What do you want to see? And yeah, where do you want to go? Let's keep it to a couple minutes though,
I
because
got
we
you.
need to wrap this up. Yeah.
Gotta rein me in. But yeah. So in the first Project Catalyst proposal, the first link, it's a focus on the DEMU Jukebox, and we need to add more features in it. Credit card payment. We hope to. We want to onboard in real life people, right? Our focus isn't just to target on the community that already knows about Web3, but to get artists and their supporters to easily buy music. And so credit card payment, we need to KYC these artists, because they can't just upload music that doesn't belong to them. And if they do, they need to be held legally responsible by the infringed upon party. So there's all these different things that I highlight in the proposal. Check it out. And then, like I said, that leads to the second proposal, which by building up these tools that attract the artists with this core value proposition of being at their own platform, that we can then attract licensable content, which which now we need to build APIs. That's the second proposal. The second proposal that becomes the protocol, right? The APIs that connect the music to other apps that are building for and generating a revenue on IP for whatever that use case is. And I mentioned a couple earlier in this call. So that's pretty much it, right? We need to first attract the artists and attract that repository of music, so then make it available to other apps to build. We don't hope to build all these different apps. We're not that this is where the decentralization comes in, right? Where we kickstart its ecosystem where others can build on top of, and multiplying the earning potential of the music for the artists, which will then attract more artists, right? The more earning potential for the IP, the more the bigger artists. We reach a tipping point where the biggest artists in the world even will want to manage their IP on the blockchain in this way, using DEMU.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Session. Thank you, Randall. And cheers to DEMU Music Protocol. We're gonna wrap this up now. Any closing thoughts from any of the guild members? No? All right. Any closing thoughts from Kyriakos, CMOS? No? All right.
Appreciate your time, man, and I appreciate the space for us to share our project. You know.
Yeah, man. For sure. And have a happy rest of your Wednesday. Bye-bye.
See you in town hall. See you in town hall.
Exactly. Gotta get over there.
Thank you,
Peace.
guys.
Peace.
There, guys.